Howdy guys, Jimmy Song here. In this video, I'm going to talk about gratitude and decentralization. Now, how are these things related? Well, here's the thing about centralized entities, or if you will, centralized authorities in particular. Their tendency is to be able to dole out resources to other, people. And I think there's a great quote by Louis the 14th or something like that. Whenever he assigned somebody to a position, right, like that everyone wanted, or you would have and say there were 10 people that were up for the position, he picks one and that person gets to get this really nice position in the court or something. He would say, well, usually what I end up with are 9 bitter people and 1 ingrate, something like that. And this is just sort of like what ends up happening with central authorities, is that they can dole out favors. And there might be some gratitude from those people, but they know that they didn't really actually deserve it, right? Like they just sort of manipulated themselves politically, or got into the good graces of the person in power and happened to be at the right place at the right time, with the person in the right mood to get that. And this is the thing about centralization, is that there's sort of like that, what you call a form of the imposter syndrome, where a lot of people know that they didn't really deserve the wealth that they're getting. They didn't really earn it, and that sets up sort of kind of like an entitlement mindset. If you didn't earn anything and you continue to sort of get stuff, well, you're gonna sort of think of it as an entitlement, and that's very different than the mentality of gratitude. And this is one of the things that I've said before, maybe not here, but essentially, when you have a lot of people that are demanding things, that feel entitled to something, you have the beginnings of the downfall of civilization. When you have enough people that feel entitled, well, who's doing the work, right? As Margaret Thatcher said, socialism works until you run out of other people's money. Well, I mean, somebody has to do the work. And when you have a lot of people feeling entitled, well, they're not going to work. And everybody else is working, and there's bitterness. You end up with a bunch of ingrates and a bunch of bitter people, right? That have to do the work. So that's essentially what centralized fiat systems, or centralized power, really, that's what that causes. On the other hand, when you have decentralized systems, well, gratitude is a lot more organic, right? First of all, it's not some central. You don't appeal to whoever happens to be there, right? Whoever happens to be in power. You appeal to friends and family, people that know you, that want to invest in you. There's a lot more gratitude there. You don't feel entitled to somebody else's money, right? Or kindness, or goodness, or their property, or whatever. And if you don't express gratitude, or if you don't have that, not many people are going to give you that stuff. And the entitlement mentality is near impossible in a decentralized system, or where there's less power in at the center and more power at the edges. And that's a really beautiful thing, because this is how people have lived for a long time. I think I was debating healthcare and whether or not it should be free, and I think it could work, right? Providing healthcare for somebody, if you had a community of 150 people or something like that, somewhere below Dunbar's number, where you can talk to people, you would know everybody or something like that. And say somebody got cancer, well, if the rest of the community raised money for that person so that they can get better, that person would feel totally grateful. But if it's some universal health program and they are entitled to services that cost a lot of money, and drain the resources of a lot of people, without knowing who any of those people are, they're going to feel much more entitled. right? Like to that sort of stuff. And that's sort of the mentality that we have today. If you you can't feel grateful if you feel entitled, and that's kind of the situation that we're in right now. And this is why I'm so opposed to a lot of these entitlement programs, because there's no gratitude there. Decentralized context, there is gratitude, and this is something where when we if we take the power of money away from the government with Bitcoin, then things change radically, because first of all, they can't spend as much, and they can't just expand or whatever. They have restrictions on their own, and if they want loans, they're going to have to get them at 7-8% instead of monetary expansion 1-2% that they're getting, and essentially the deficit just keeps rolling over for that reason. So it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference how something is given and where the power is. So essentially what I'm saying is gratitude will make decentralization so much, like, it makes it so much more livable and so much easier, instead of an entitlement mindset that fiat does. Hope that helps you. This song is done.